Nagel thinks there's a problem with Weinberg, Nichols, and Stitch's results because she almost has to think this because there's this tension going on in her discussion. She claims that intuitive judgments about knowledge are exercises of mind reading, and she endorses what the psychological literature says, which is that mind reading doesn't greatly vary across culture or gender. But Weinberg, Nichols, and Stitch have these results that show that intuitive judgments about knowledge do vary along these dimensions. But it can't be that they do vary and that they are mind reading instead of mind reading, but mind reading doesn't vary. That's inconsistent. And so we have to think about what possible explanations there could be of Weinberg, Nichols, and Stitch's results. And one explanation is Weinberg, Nichols, and Stitch's explanation that different groups have different epistemic intuitions and that these aren't true instances of mind reading. That's not the way Nagel wants to go. Now, another option is just they got these results by chance. Maybe there aren't really different epistemic intuitions across groups, but by chance these experiments showed that there were. That's possible, and it's something we might discuss more in lecture or in videos that follow in a few days. But Nagel's response is that the differences that the results that Weinberg, Nichols, and Stitch have, the differences they saw, aren't really differences in epistemic intuitions, in intuitive judgments about knowledge or justification. They're really caused by differences in motivation. In particular, she draws on this fact that when participants fill out a questionnaire randomly, we'd expect a 50-50 split on whether somebody knows or only believes. And this is the direction of difference for all non-Western responses. So in cases where Westerners are more likely to say that a subject doesn't know, and say East Asians are sort of equally likely to say that they do and don't know, one explanation for that is their intuitions about the cases are different. But another explanation is just that the East Asians were less motivated to think about the details of the case or give an answer or even read the case at all rather than randomly filling it out. And so that's a possible explanation. It raises this other question: why would non-Western participants be less motivated? And her hypothesis, though this just really seems like a guess at this point, is that non-Western participants are less likely to be humanities majors and more likely to be science majors. And so maybe for that reason, they're less motivated to answer the questions in anything more than just a guessing way. Another possible explanation is that the content of the scenario might not have resonated. So in Weinberg, Nichols, and Stitch's examples, we have scenarios that use, say, American cars like Buicks and Pontiacs. Those might resonate less with some Asian students, and so they might be less motivated to answer, they might less easily grasp onto what's important because they might be focusing on these less familiar examples.